One, two, check, one, check, hey. Check, hey. Check, two, three, two.
Did you call your girl buddies and group buddies? You got your girl buddies are here? Solo anchor and all of these things will not be tolerated.
Hello, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Hello, check. Check. 1, 2, 3. Hello, check. 1, 2, 3. Hey, hello, check. One, two, three. Hello, check. 1, 2, 3. Hey. Hello, check. Mic check. Hello. Hey, hello. Hello, check. Hello. Hello. Feedback Uma. Check. Hey. Hello. Hello. Check. Hello, check. Check. 1, 2, 3. Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Check one, two, hey. Check one, two, hey. Check one, two, three, one, two, hey. Check one, two, three, one, two, one. Check one,
लीशा
one,
रोल कॉल
two, hey.
करना
Check
है,
one,
रोल कॉल करना है, रोल नंबर
one, two, check. One, two, three, check. One, two, hey, check. One, two, check. One, two, three, four. Hey, check. One, check. One, two, three, one, two, two.
भाई मेरे पास सुन लो भाई
वोटर तो आ गया नहीं कितनी बार एजेंसी में कौन है यहाँ पे एजेंसी में कौन है यहाँ पे कौन दो लोग हैं तुम्हारे जो असाइंड है यहाँ पे काम करने के लिए Who are the two people who are assigned to do work here in Vivaan? For today. Give me the names now.
61,
present
62, 63, 64,
yes
65, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 71, 72, 71. So, all of them 72, 73.
इस वाले को कर थोड़ा सीधा कर दो उसको थोड़ा आगे तो सीधा कर दो उसको टेबल और थोड़ा सीधा सीधा बस हाँ ठीक इसको भी कर दो थोड़ा सीधा
93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 99,
नहीं ठीक है ठीक है।
Present. भाई बोला है तो लगा ही है। कौन है? कौन? हाँ, अच्छा है। और कौन है?
Guys, today the moderator is Dr. Ramarajan sir. So please be very attentive to see what subject है. And बाद में हमारे ऊपर चिल्लाता है we don't want that. So be attentive, listen to the summit and make a good impression in front of it.
Hello. Please look sharp. The speakers are about to come. Good morning, everyone. Esteemed dignitaries, respected faculty, and my dear friends. It gives me immense pleasure and pride to welcome you all to the Public Policy Summit 2024, a part of Vivaan 10.0, the annual flagship international business summit of IIFT Kolkata. I am Mukund Thakur, a senior club coordinator of the Public Policy Club, and it is my honor to stand before such a distinguished gathering. Today, we are privileged to host some of the most accomplished personalities in finance, governance, and policy. Their expertise will enrich us our understanding of how leadership and resilience are crucial in navigating turbulent corporate environments. Let me first extend my warm welcome to our distinguished speakers, Dr. R.B. Barman, former Executive Director of the Reserve Bank of India, is a trailblazer in the Indian financial landscape. He was instrumental in leading the digital payments revolution in India, transforming how millions of Indians make their payments every day. Presently, he is a key member of the Technical Advisory Board for the National Payments Corporation of India, guiding the future of digital transactions in the country. Then we have Mr. Paramjyoti Chattopadhyay, currently the Head of Research, Assessment and Monitoring at the United Nations World Food Programme. He has an exclusive background in development policy. He has played a pivotal role as a consultant for Deloitte and served as an M&E specialist at Niti Aayog, contributing to some of India's most impactful policy decisions. Then we have Mr. Nagaraj Prakasan, an author and a partner at Acumen, a $100 million impact venture fund. He is a champion of sustainability and rural development, working on social issues through ventures like Guardian, a microfinance initiative focused on water and sanitation. His book, Back to Bharat, In Search of a Sustainable Future, captures his vision of building a sustainable future for rural India. Moving to in one breath, I must highlight that his contributions have continuously elevated IIFT to new heights. Today's topic of discussion, leadership resilience, navigating difficult policies during turbulent corporate environments, will delve into how leadership and governance prepare organizations to withstand crises. We will explore real-world examples of resilience from corporate and developmental sectors, focusing on how environmental, social, and governance (ESG) principles have helped organizations thrive. The discussion will also cover how regulatory bodies like RBI have influenced corporate strategies during turbulent times. With such illustrious speakers, I am confident today's discussion will offer us invaluable takeaways on how strategic leadership and policy can navigate crises, benefit organizations, and ultimately society as a whole. Without further ado, let's begin this exciting journey. Once again, our heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers and dignitaries present. Thank you.
Yeah. Very good morning to all of you. And in fact, it's a nice morning wherein with a lot of these kind of illuminating lights, we have got luminaries who will be talking about sustainability and the leadership challenge that is happening. Mostly from the point of view of how the corporate world is going to look at it. Because what I understand is leadership and sustainability is becoming more popular nowadays. For the past couple of years, you might be seeing that in global arena, it is being more talked about by different leaders, whether they are from social thinkers or it is policymakers or politicians or academicians, corporates. Everyone is now more into it. In the past couple of years, I would say that we have also become witness to some of the things which are talked about. So we also have the kind of a fear what will happen. And you know that the lady Ganga is also every time saying that, okay, now you are going to die. Every time we are saying that 2030 is the last, 2050 is the last, or 2070 is the last, etc. So as the public also, we are feeling that, oh, is this becoming a reality? Because of that, we get a lot of rains, a lot of droughts and whatnot, etc. that are happening. So apart from all these kind of discussions, definitely the life has to move and the corporates have to be in business. We need to be the consumers. We need to consume it. And the things are happening. So in today's panel, I'm very happy to have three important kind of personalities who will be coming from different, I would say, the fields and culminate into some kind of a thinking on sustainability and leadership. We have Dr. Burman, though a banker, though was involved in policy, formulations, etc. Now, as a banker, we can also talk about the sustainability aspects where it is going to be because his thinking is more of an economist rather than a banker. That's what I was gathering when I was interacting with him. And they have got Chakrabarty is working with international organizations. My experience with working with international organizations always was a conflict with which I always functioned. Of course, I know now the kind of dilemma with which he may be putting this himself, because the international organization has its own kind of an agenda. India has its own kind of agenda, making the international organization understand what India is and making India understand what that international organization is. In that itself, you will be spending 50% of your time. The rest will be the time on which you will be spending on doing the things. So we have Sichadavadi will be bringing in those kind of issues, what he is seeing as a third party, because he may be getting a good pedestal to see what is happening from different podiums. That may be his advantage. And we have got Mr. Prakash, who has already demonstrated that what sustainability means. And he has not only demonstrated it, he has also documented. I just, when he presented this book, I was just going through, though they say that don't judge the book by its cover, but of course, whenever we buy a book, we always judge it by its cover. But of course, when I was going through the content, it was so impressive that some of the things he has gone into the depth of it. Right, maybe Araku Valley, or it is your Nagaland, honey kind of thing, etc. These are the things which only people will come to know when you visit and you understand those kind of sentiments. Otherwise, it is very difficult to put it in a book, right? Because it's going to be a public document. So we have got all the interesting backgrounds of the people. So what I'm planning is, I think we have another 60 minutes of duration. Wherein we'll be discussing about some of the issues. Panelists will be talking about, they'll be coming out with their views. So I was just thinking about, to start with, I just asked each one of the panelists to start with a 5 minutes briefing on what they see as the kind of sustainability they have and corporates. So based on their own kind of dimensions, and then we will be looking into how the corporates are going to respond, adapt, and what kind of ecosystem which is required for us. In fact, I even go for asking, like when Professor Damodar was saying that it is huge hype, which is happening, sustainability. That is what he has talked about. Whereas we find that almost all the organizations, etc., political organizations are also more serious about it, and we also are facing a lot of issues on that. So with that, we are going to begin, and I request Dr. Bowman to start with. Sri Ganesh Karke, he will be starting it so that an economist view and the kind of Indianized economist view. That is also more important for us. Okay. With that, let us start. Thank you, sir.
First of all, good morning to all of you. It's really my pleasure to be with you to share some of the thoughts which have been crystallized over so many years of my professional career. I am basically a statistician, but after joining the department, I have to also become an economist. I handle the information technology and business system as a part of my portfolio in India. And in the course of time, also I was the chairman of the National Statistical Commission. With that, what I do is that I say the bottom-up approach to development. The main reason for bottom-up approach to today's state. Sustain, how to raise income, how to sustain, and made it broad-based. And for that, what I try to do is that the existing framework, how we need to change this existing framework to really be in a position to take advantage of today's technology and to pursue policy, not only policy, monitor progress and evaluate performance on a more or less almost like a real-time basis, so that we are in a position to know what is all happening and what is needed to corrected. And this is all possible today. So that's what is the secret. Now, with all these things, let me start with what is the main thing as I understand as a part of it. One is the growth. Second is equity. Third is availability. These are the three fundamental things that I see in the people. Now, as a part of growth, we are one of the fastest growing large economy in the world, and we have our ambition to accelerate the process of growth to be even faster. Now, for that, what we need? Higher investment in better technology. We require human resource, which is very skilled, and as a result of which we can raise productivity and competitiveness. And through that productivity and competitiveness, we should be in a position to not only sustain ourselves in a better manner, but in a position to penetrate into the global market to increase our share of international trade. You are a part of IIFT, so that's also very important. So these are some of the things can we do under the existing framework. In my my understanding is that the both on theoretical ground or on reality in terms of whatever statement, the kind of infrastructure that we have, I think we are not in a position to do the kind of a thing the way we should make it more efficient. There is a need for absorbing the technology in a much bigger way and use artificial intelligence to extract knowledge, to create the society which is a knowledge society. So that information asymmetry is reduced to a great extent. And the people we target, see, today there are two major players in the entire economy. One is the household, and another is enterprise. Now, we should be in a position to, if possible, focus on each and every household and to see that household is empowered to be in a position to be more productive, earn much more of income, create additional demand, which is impulses for higher growth. Are we there today? Definitely no, because our policy does not address and go up to that level of household. In terms of enterprises, we leave it mostly to the market forces. As we understand, market forces are dominated by certain players. That's what I was discussing before coming here about the international expert idea of the shipping corporation. That's what you were sharing with me. So the domination of the players results in supernormal profit for some of them. And as a result of which, our development approach, whatever we want to do, we are not in a position to achieve, and it becomes lopsided. On the other hand, from the countries of the Asia, whatever has happened, some of the countries, so what did they do? What did they do? Currently, that they have grown much faster and they have become much bigger. Say, for example, Taiwan, with only 2 crore population, has an export share of 1.5% of the total global exports. Whereas we are 140 crore people, and our share is also 1.5. So these are some of the issues I thought initially I'll put to you. As we go on, we will come on.
Thank you, sir. Now let us hear from Suresh over there about his initial take.
Yeah. Thank you. So I would like to start by thanking IIFT Kolkata professor and the management organizing team for inviting me here and providing me this platform to discuss this very interesting topic with the main speakers. So before I talk about the sustainability aspect of it, just a little background in a way that when the topic was given to me, so I was wondering that it was a little tilted towards the corporates, what I thought. So I was wondering that how, coming from a humanitarian organization, how I would be contributing to that topic. So that itself was a little bit of a dilemma initially. And then I thought that it would be really interesting to see the different perspectives and also bring in the development sector perspective in this for a more holistic and well-rounded discussion. So that was my initial thoughts on that. Now, In terms of the sustainability, I would first would like to read about what United Nations. I'm from WFP, which is part of the United Nations. So what what is one of its major focus areas is humanitarian aid. So in the charter, it is mentioned that one of the purposes of the United Nations is to achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of an economic, social, cultural, or humanitarian character. So from this lens, if we look at sustainability, so each of these parameters or factors like economic, social, cultural, humanitarian, these all contribute to sustainability. Okay. Now, since we work primarily around crisis, emergency, crisis, so I will talk about from that perspective. So now, if we try to define what is crisis, so again, we were having this conversation before the panel, that we work with the government to improve the response to different crisis situations. So crisis can be primarily, broadly, two types. One can be natural emergencies and crises, like you have COVID-19, you have cyclones, you have droughts, you have floods, which actually creates a lot of issues in different development parameters in the affected areas. And then there can be man-made crises like conflicts, wars, then mass migration, which creates again that kind of emergency situation where you need external support to provide the basic necessities of life to the affected population. Now, when these kind of definitions are put forward, the perception is that the crisis is kind of always linked to a specific event and for a specific period of time. Like, for example, we have COVID-19, which came in 2020. Now we are kind of over that. We have gone through that period. So it was a specific time period crisis for a specific event. But it is always not so. Now, for example, you take the case of climate change, which is now very well documented, a lot of discussions happening around that. It is something which is happening for a long time, and it is likely to happen for a long time forward as well, which is affecting almost all aspects of our life, including the sustainability aspect, which is very directly linked to the changes which has been brought about by the climate. Now, where I work in, it is mostly related to the response of the governments and the civil society for food and nutrition. Now, this is also a very interesting conversation which does not always get very highlighted. Now, as you all may be aware that if you go back 60 years, India was a food deficit country. Before the Green Revolution, India did not have enough food to feed its population. Huge amount of grains in the form of aid used to come from abroad in ships and which would be delivered to the population through the fair price shops. And so much so, the situation was so grave that it would be the phrase that would be used was ship to plate. Because there was so much demand that time that sometimes it did not be stored in the warehouses as well. It will directly go from the ship to the FPS shops. That was the situation at that point in time. Now, you fast forward 65 years in today's time, India is grain surplus. The possibility of wheat has almost doubled in India as compared to 1960s, in spite of such a huge population growth. So all good. It's a phenomenal work which the country has done in terms of green revolution, providing that the minimum requirement of the cereals for the population. But now the question is, what about nutrition? If you see India's present performance in nutrition, India is not actually very well placed. 1 out of every 3 child in India below 5 years is stunted. That means their height is not as per the age, as per the WHO standards. Almost 20% of the children are wasted. Their weight is not as per the requirement of the age. Then 30% of the children are underweight. And then there is the problem of hidden hunger. Anemia, almost 50% of women of reproductive age in India are anemic. So these are some challenges which India is grappling with currently. And some people would say that this is also a crisis which the country is going through. So this is not specific to any event or for a very specific period of time. So these are long-term situation which is happening where the government is trying to address. And this is in spite of India running world's largest food-based social security programs like the PDS, the public distribution system. So all these factors also impact the sustainability in terms of food, in terms of nutrition, in terms of the environmental impacts, so on. So with that, I thought that I would bring in that aspect which we are working on to initiate the discussion on the sustainability. With that, I will stop. Thank you.
Thank you, for bringing that food issue also. In fact, I was just thinking that yes, you are right. Are we creating a weak next generation? When you find that they are underweight, lesser height, and we don't know. It's going to be a generation which is going to be weak. Anyhow, now let us hear from Mr. Prakasam his first thoughts on this issue.
First of all, I think great to see you on a Sunday morning, right? I think after I was told that you had a Dandiya night last night. I'm sure I couldn't see anybody dozing off. I was just kind of looking at it. It was awesome to see the enthusiasm on a Sunday morning. Coming back to this crisis, what we are discussing before, right? The world has today two problems: climate change and inequality. This is a problem that across the world we are facing. Many of the statements what you're mentioning is not coming from the accent, right? They are poor. So that's the other part. So how do we play a role in these two elements is where it's all about that? How probably a Bharat can give a solution. That Bharat nothing to do with the politics, what is happening in Bharat and India. I've started writing like 5 years back. My definition of Bharat is about the billion, the 1 billion people that we ignore. All the discussion we talk about, what we care, it's all about the 400 million that who speaks English, which has a disposable income, so they may be living on like somebody in Germany, right? But billion is where there is quite a bit of things that they ignore. So that's the part that I'm talking. Coming to the climate change, right? So the element about the climate change, there are a lot of fixers and then preventers, right? So the people are fixing the problem of climate change. So I'm just doing waste management. I think carbon capture, all that, it's not fixing. But there are preventers. I think my focus is about the preventers, what I call, right? If you look at not far from here in Meghalaya, the East Coast Hills, people follow still the matriarchal society, right? Girl gets married, the boy comes to her house, right? But according to the thousands of years, they're following this matriarchal society. This is what UN SDG calls as the women empowerment program. Right? When the world is talking about a women empowerment, 1,000 years back, East Gaurav Hills, already women are running the whole place. The head of the village is the women, right? Similarly, if you look at all of you know Elon Musk, yeah? Yeah, Elon Musk made $1 billion selling a carbon credit, right? So what about our weavers? Right? There are 9 million weavers who are making sustainable fashion. So I call them, these are preventers, climate preventers, we're not celebrating them. So that's what I think one of my investment, what we have done. So this tool is made in Assam, right, Guwahati. And we're putting a technology here, right? So there is a QR code. You just scan the QR code, it will tell you who made it and what are the ingredient of this, right? What kind of material this is and how long it will make. So the devices, every room in 6,000 devices that Northeast Handle Commission bought, put the device in the loop. It captures the movement the lady is making. We are calculating carbon. And we're going to give a carbon credit to the weaver because she is making sustainable fashion. So this is about, preventers. So how do we celebrate the preventers? Same thing, if we go in probably somewhere in Sikkim, right? In a village, people live in a very nice thatched roof house. Calculate his carbon, my carbon, your carbon, and somebody living in New York and London will switch, right? Because US GDP is almost 7 times more than India today. But their per capita emission is 6 times more than India. If carbon is a new gold, who switch? Right? Elon Musk makes $1 billion selling carbon credit, about our 9 billion. So that's my thought around how the Bharat, right, the people who are ignored, providing solution to the current problem for climate change and equality. So we talk about.
Great, Prakash Saab. I think it's a very good this thing when you talk about the inverters and Bharat and how it has started up. It's really nice. So that is one thing is clear that all of us, all the three panelists, and they are expressing some of their views. I think which is more clear is we need some kind of leadership also. Sustainability frameworks, etc., which is more suitable for us rather than what we try to force something on us. So now let me move to some specific questions to the panelists, wherein they will respond to that. And post that, we will be opening the house for question and answers. Since this sustainability, as I said, beyond that in business curriculum, it is more about corporates, etc. Also, though the well-being will be more targeted towards having a healthy society, and that is what is being targeted. The role of corporates, what they try to play. Now, what do you think? Since all of the panelists have agreed that there is something which should be more customized when it comes to Indian context. So my question is, what should be the quality of leadership which is required for bringing this kind of change, so that we may be able to, the corporates may be able to contribute towards the thinking when we are sharing here. So that is my because we have a lot of youngsters who are here who may try to contribute in the coming next couple of years. So what should be the kind of leadership qualities which you are thinking, where on the one side you see the digital society has given more exposure to the Western way of living, targeting the Indian ethos of living. So what do you think should be the thing which they should know? That is my question. Starting with Varun sir, if you want to start it, great.
It is the question of what I understand is that what kind of a leadership we should have to drive the kind of change which ensure sustainability. I will also put additional part of it is that inclusive. That's what I will put it. Because if we make it an inclusive growth, which is sustained much longer and much better. Now, to do that kind of a thing, what we have today is just I go into the basic macroeconomic model. Y is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus 1. So in that kind of a thing, you see, it is an aggregate income. And when you aggregate the income, you lose sight of the distribution. You implicitly assume that this is a symmetric distribution. Whereas the income distribution is highly skewed. Similarly, at the other levels. So the mainline analytical framework of economics on which our policies are based mostly, right from central level to the other level, are based on a kind of a framework on which our assumptions are unrealistic, not so realistic. So what we need is to capture this skewness. And how to capture this skewness is through bottom-up approach. As I say, that the household, enterprises, government, we are very, very major players in the system, and we should build that. And we should be in a position to operate on that. As I also mentioned that we should be in a position to monitor and next question is that you see how do we capture this information and how do we operate on this? Today we are in the design of big data. And through big data and the cloud environment, we are in a position to kind of set up what I call it a special big data uh, analytics. So where the financial sector data, the government is in the helm of the affairs. Most of the data is available at the macro level. The e-governance data is a part of the government, but also we get the macro data at that kind of a level, at transaction kind of a level. We have trade data, which is also micro data level. Real sector, we have problems. We get some land records, etc. are getting. But now IT people are talking about tokenization and all. With that kind of a thing, we are in a position to have a special platform. And that initiative for drill down, drill up, drill across, which is the part of the data warehousing, we can go up to ground panchayat level, if need be even up to household level. And with that kind of a knowledge, and I think I don't know, I should not mention some position, but some chief minister will say that he is looking at each and every household and trying to see that that household gets up. And that kind of a thing. The biggest challenge is suppose agricultural work. 45% of the workers are GDP. So this is the sector where most of the malnutrition happens. And we have been talking about structural transformation, taking out these people from agriculture to the non-agricultural sector, industry and services, for long many years. But the market does not respond to our policymakers want it to happen. So that means there is a different kind of intervention that is required in the system. As I said already, that intervention system has to be overcome. We are focused on seeing what is happening, how it is happening, and taking the technology here and make information asymmetry as minimal as possible, so that the efficiency comes from the reduction of information asymmetry. And that if we are not in a position to ensure, the big people, big business will always make much more. Now I am talking about, let me also, I think, briefly mention digital payment. That's what I have been involved in the digital payment. Now, USA was ahead of us on digital payment for 50 years, I think. China was ahead of us for at least 10 years. Technology was, they are even now much superior as compared to us. But what it is that made a difference between India and most of the other countries, and today our UPI is the most, I think, glaring success story. It is technology, no doubt. It is connectivity network, no doubt. As a result of this, 30 crore of our people use mobile payment today. But the kinds of a model, the not-for-profit model as a part of National Payment Corporation of India, which we pursue, has become a globally attractive model. When I was doing it from Reserve Bank, the opposition was that not-for-profit model cannot succeed in the face of multinational companies which are deeply. Today we have shown how public good can be pushed to a not-for-profit model. There are others like ONDC, online digital commerce, which is again going to revolutionize and challenge kind of a big multinational traders, again going to a not-for-profit. So the question is that model is very important. I'll elaborate on that for want of time because somebody else will say. So this is how one success story of digital payment can be implemented in different ways. And then, as I said, that we should have a knowledge society, a knowledge economy and knowledge society, and that has to be.
Well said. So I just wanted, before I talk about my data, I saw a data that India's number of transactions, digital transactions, is more than the next 3 countries combined. So that's the the revolution which has happened in India in terms of digital payment. Yeah. So with that, in terms of the question which you asked, in terms of the leadership qualities that is required in this kind of a situation, a turbulent situation. So to me, the acronym is AAIC. So I will explain that. So A is for agility. So the ability to be proactive. It is the crisis, many times, even climate change, these are all very dynamic in nature. The kind of impacts it is creating at different levels are also changing very frequently. So the ability to understand those changes, to read those changes, and take decisions, quick decisions based on that is very important. Now, for example, in some areas where we are working, especially in the northeast and in certain coastal areas, which are impacted by climate change to a very large extent, especially the small farmers, we have seen that the rainfall have become erratic. The flooding which is happening, which happens in Assam, in some other areas, every year it will happen. So those are also changing. The patterns are changing. So the farmers, the smaller farmers who had this traditional understanding and knowledge of when this flood will happen, and accordingly they would sow the crops and they will harvest the crops. So those are all going for a toss because the flooding is not happening when it is supposed to happen many times. So we are working with them to understand these patterns and to help them with the different types of crops, which would be aligned to those erratic, nature of the problems which are having. Working with them on the weather information systems so that they knew in advance that what is going to happen, what kind of rainfall is going to happen, what kind of, even if there is any pest attack anywhere else, they will get the information, they can take those necessary steps to stop those things in their fields. So this agility to understand the situation is very important. Second is adaptability. Adaptability to adjust and thrive in this kind of a changing scenario. That is also very important. Now, again, an example, the government of India has taken a decision to fortify the rice which is given through the PDS, the public distribution system. Presently, the entire rice, some million tons of rice which is being distributed through PDS is fortified with iron, with vitamin B12 and vitamin B9 and folate. So basically, by understanding that these are the nutritional challenges, hidden hunger which is there, and how this can be addressed. So what government has done, it has used the existing system, which is very robust, the public distribution system. They have put fortified rice, mixed it with the normal rice, and then this has been distributed. We have been working with the government to expand it. Now it is being done in almost the entire country. Some 80 billion people, 80 crore people who are getting the fortified rice. They are actually having that extra nutrition which is required for addressing food hunger. Now the third is innovation and technology. So I was talking about digital payments. So you also talked about big data. Now, many places blockchain technology is being used to streamline the supply chains. WFP is also using blockchain in many countries to streamline aid distribution, food distribution. Biometric is being used entirely now for the PDS distribution. It is fitted with other cards as well. So the leakages that used to happen earlier is now being reduced because of these kind of steps which has been taken by bringing in innovation and technology and digital technology. And the last one, which is also very important but which is not talked about much, is the communication. Many of the problems which are India facing, particularly in the bottom of the pyramid which we have talked about, is because of lack of knowledge, lack of proper communications. And this consistent communication is also very important for crisis management. So I'll just quickly give an example. Like the general perception is that more centralized the communication process is, more consistent would be the communication, especially the crisis communication. And vice versa is also true in perception that more decentralized is the decision making and the communication channels, more inconsistent the communications. So a group of scientists, social scientists, they actually tried to test this hypothesis. And they did a study by taking the examples of 3 countries, US, United Kingdom, and Italy, in the COVID-19 situation. And they tried to see how communications, consistency in communications were linked to centralization of the decision making and communication. And surprisingly, they saw that centralization of communication or the decision making does not automatically lead to consistent communication. And decentralized decision making always does not necessarily lead to inconsistency. Rather, they found that the factor which plays a bigger role in proper communication is the inclusiveness of the decision making and the coordination between different political leaders and power centers in coming up to solutions which leads to more consistent communication. So the point I'm trying to make is the last quality, but not the least, is inclusiveness in decision making, sharing of communication that is very important in crisis management. So these are the 5 traits which I feel is important in leadership for dealing with this type of situation. Thank you.
So whenever I see student, I'll ask them question, right? So can I ask you some question? Yeah. How many of you can sing? No, you can sing. No, orchestra. Good. And clear, yeah. One person, yeah. No. So I walk into a first standard classroom. I ask the same question. What happened? Everybody right. So you all went to first standard, no? Yeah. You have certificate. The deal is going to ask for it, no? So what happened to us, right? When you're a 6-year-old, we never bother, right? About are you going to good for air? I want audition or not. But today, you don't worry about, whether I'm a good singer. Even if you're a good singer, okay singer, if you raise a hand, then your friend will pull it down. Right? Don't make a scene, you're horrible. So what that tells you that every yes and every no you got while you're growing up, you define who you are. You have no idea who you are anymore, right? So that is one part that we need to start looking at, because this is where the difference come in ordinary citizen solve a problem and find somebody to blame for the problem, right? And an entrepreneur. So if you have an entrepreneurial thinking in your head, you can be an entrepreneur as well, wherever you're going to join the company, right? But if you have that thought process, you're not going to complain about a problem. You're going to find every problem is an opportunity. I'm going to start finding solutions, right? So that's why, when you start calling a problem as an opportunity, people call you mad. So that is why you behave like a 6-year-old. Don't give a worry about what they're going to tell about you. You're going to focus on solving that problem. But how you are going to find the problem? That's my next question. Can you hear the sunrise? Can you hear the sunrise? Anyone? How? Yeah. How? How can you hear the sunrise? Right? You have a lovely campus. I think it's a beautiful place, right? So you're going to see hear the bird chirping in the morning. So what that tells you, right? If you make your eyesight tell you sun is up, you're missing out what this sense is telling you, right? So if you're sensitive, you will listen to all your 6 senses. So when you're sensitive enough, the problems around you will start bothering you. Right? Otherwise, you'll become numb to the problem. You'll see a problem every day. You'll become indifferent to the problem. You'll become numb to the problem. Right? So that is where, at IIM, I tell my students, let's go sit in our gate. There's Banagata Road. It's 2 million people live in that street. Right? The entire road. It's like Ireland of population. One European country, one particular road. You just see that there will be a guy driving a BMW, and there is somebody going on Maruti Alto. Somebody at KTM bike, right? 14 lakhs it cost. Somebody at TVS XL. Have you seen the TVS XL? That guys will put everything in the world on it, and some vendor will be driving that, right? Then there is a Decathlon bicycle with all the gears on his head that as if that guy is going to Mars. Yeah? Next to that, there is a rusted by PSA bicycle. There is somebody coming from a nearby village, come to a security guard. Somebody begging on it. Here is your India. So which India problem that you want to solve, right? If you're not sensitive, you're seeing this every day, it does not bother us, right? Because we lost the sensitivity. So we have these 2 qualities, right? It's going to be helpful because there's an opportunity for you to become an entrepreneur now. Because you're learning about foreign trade, you're dealing with about international businesses. You have a great opportunity now. Take India's treasure to the world. Right? So we are telling about the crafts. Right? There are 9 million weavers in the country. We are telling you the crafts in India. It's a sustainable fashion. Craft should not be affordable to middle income. If it is affordable, then somebody living in poverty. Right? Weaver makes 5,000 rupees an average every year. But if you sell that as sustainable fashion, prove it some of the European market, right, which believe in sustainable fashion, so that you can pass the premium back to the people. So there's an opportunity for you to take Indian treasure to worldwide. Right? We also talk about today cultural IP rights, right? Suppose this design, right? This design is from Assam. probably 500 years, they're making this design. So now this design, right? Intellectual property does not mean that IT alone, but this is an intellectual property as well. So there's an organization in Germany working on about cultural IP rights, right? When Louis Vuitton copied a design from Maasai tribes in Europe, Africa, they sued them and they got a royalty collected and sent to the Maasai tribe. So now all the big brands want to work with these tribal designs, they want to align with this, right? So pass that intellectual property, pass the royalty back. So these are all the new thoughts emerging in terms of taking our traditional wisdom and taking them forward. If you are sensitive enough, you will understand all these problems around you. Like you take like in Tamil Nadu, the state flower of Tamil Nadu is Gloria superba, which is being used in Siddha medicine for thousands of years. Suddenly the seed price went up 2,000 rupees kg, right? The tribals are giving out 5 rupees and the guy is selling at 2,000 baht. There is an organization, Gramamoli, has figured out what is happening. Hey, why suddenly there is a demand? They found that there is a pharma company in Italy, found a chemical in that seed for cancer treatment. The seed becomes 2,000 rupees kg, right? It's being used in Siddha for 1,000 rupees. So we losing this wisdom. So that is an opportunity for all of you start looking at, you are probably graduating from this region. It has an amazing potential in terms of local wisdom. Can we take that forward? That is one part. From the other part, you can look at from the corporate side, right? If you're not looking at the entrepreneurial, if you're looking at the corporate side, this is the best time today because world problems are same today, whether it is US or India, the world problems are same. They're also having climate change, they have inequality. 17% of people in US in poverty, right? So Acumen Fund, we started, it's a New York-based fund to invest in impactful ventures across the world, developing countries. We made our first investment in the US. Right? It was supposed to be invested poor. We get our first investment in the same place where is the money from. So that means that there is no model to be proven across the world what models copy. They also have inequality problem. You can put the number of people, the 1% of US wealth is with probably a guys, we can put it in one bus. Right? 15% of US wealth is owned by the 1%. You can put them in one bus that own the entire 50% of. You saw the board Occupy Wall Street happened a few years back. 1% were on 9 versus 99%. So they also, that capitalistic model also did not prove to be providing equality. We saw that Russian model about, so communism also not giving. So there's a new model need to develop. That's what's called compassionate capitalism. Right? You're not measuring the corporate in terms of the top line and bottom line. What is top line? What does top line mean? Then revenue, right? Awesome. Yeah, super. What is bottom line? Today, we are measuring the companies at top and bottom, right? We are missing out what is happening in the middle. But suddenly now people are waking up. This model has created the world's problem about inequality and climate change because you do everything to the planet, you achieve the bottom line, right? You kind of do all kind of measures without worrying about impact to the planet or people to achieve the bottom line. Today we question that what are you doing in the middle? So what is the impact on planet? What is the impact on people? So the bottom line is now triple bottom. Not only the planet, not only the profit, you have people and planet as well. That we need to start looking at about what the impact that you're making. So the thing that doing good is getting celebrated, right? So I gave Elon Musk example, right? This guy was a failure 10 years back. Now his electric vehicles are popular. He made $1 billion in carbon credit because General Motors selling in Europe not able to meet their emission standards in Europe. So they have to pay penalty, right? What is the penalty? It's not government is penalizing. The penalty is from the guy from doing good, right? So Elon was selling carbon credit to General Motors because the guy doing good is getting, rewarded by the guys who are paying penalty. So that's a beautiful position today in the world. Doing good is getting celebrated finally. That's the world you are entering in your business leadership, whatever that you want to do. So if you are becoming more sensitive enough, then you'll be able to understand that what other problems that I could solve. You could be an entrepreneur or intrapreneur, in our organization, wherever you're joining, pick up these kind of problems, be a 6-year-old, get up and start singing a song. So that is what we can change the world. Otherwise, what will happen will become a herd mentality, right? Because today we talk about corporate social responsibility, right? So we took at that, okay, 2% of your revenue do for something good. But that is like a dip in a holy Ganges, right? in Hindus, right? After 60-year-old, they go to the Ganges and one dip, all the sins are gone. Now are pure. So that is what the 2% is about, only dip in the Ganges. But what about the 98%? So that is what today to the ESG and triple bottom line is pushing about how the 98% will be the top. And we lost the great entrepreneur in the country, Ratan Tata, a few years back, right? Look at they are the best social business in the whole world, right? Because 65% of Tata Sons owned by Tata Trust. Right? So that's what I buy all Tata products. My car is a Tata, I buy a Chroma TV, I do it West Side, because everything I pay, there is a 65% of the profit is going to Indian Stock Sign or to the Tata Trust solving some problems in Odisha. So this is about business is possible. Compassionate capitalism is possible. Tata has proven for hundreds of years. That's an opportunity that you have finally, not only few people can do, but today you're forced. Everybody in the world is forced in terms of working on the social business. There is a company called Danone, have you heard? Right? So they make yogurt. It's like $5 billion company. They now in France announcing that I'm going to social business because I'm going to follow this triple bottom line. And there is in US, there is a new set of companies coming out called PCOR, benefit corporations, right? They register as a PCOR. So that there is a Tom and Jerry, Ben and Jerry ice cream. It's a big. What is the impact I'm doing to the planet and people? It's not done voluntarily. People register themselves as a PCOR. So this is what the new world of corporates are emerging, and you are entering there. There's a great opportunity that you can be there. That for that, you need to have an individual social responsibility. What am I eating? Right? Where am I wearing? Where am I living? It has to be sustainable. So that you have to change that to come from you. That's what our old man Gandhi told, right? Be the change. So if we don't have the individual social responsibility, SDG goals, it's supposed to be achieved in millennium. It's called Millennium Development Goals. We achieved in 2000, we did not. So we changed the name to SDG. It should be achieved in 2030. We are nowhere closer. We are going to borrow another 30 years. That's what Indian government is saying, right? Give me 20 more years. All the developed countries, you guys spoil the world, and let us also spoil, and we are at the same level, right? And then we'll discuss. But by the time planet may not be there, right? Look at many of the Bollywood movies. Have you seen Interstellar? Yeah, Wall-E. What Bollywood is, Hollywood is saying that let's forget about the Earth. Let's go find some moon near Jupiter, go live there. So that's what the rich guys in the US are spending. That let's ditch Earth and go there. That's not a solution. So individual social responsibility with corporate responsibility, and I'm very glad about finally we are in the cusp that doing good is getting celebrated. Have an individual social responsibility, do good. That's the quality you need.
Okay, it's a great distinct question on which we talked about some of the behavioral traits wherein Bhavanta was suggesting inclusivity focused, and Chittopadhyay coming out with an acronym, AIC, and we ended with the sensitivity and individual level as well as at the corporate level how things can be done. Now, this gives rise to another important thing which is happening. You talk about the CSR 2%. Ultimately, it is only the 2% which is added. So the 98% is gone. And because of that, now we have come out with novel ways of compelling the corporates to adhere to this kind of sustainability thing. So now my question to the panel is, can sustainability be forced? Right. Because what is now happening is there are a lot of ESG standards have come up and ESG reporting has come up. SEBI has notified that we have to come out with a sustainability report. So ultimately what we are doing is we are trying to force, okay, now whatever you do, now you put it in a sustainability way and then show it to us that this is what is my so that is my question. Can this be forced? Because if we force it, then will that lead to again back to square? Losing our own sensitivity part, whatever you have said. Inclusivity cannot happen because I am forced to do it. Forget about my inclusivity because if I don't do it, naturally I will become a violation of the law. So those things may happen. So, sir, any one of you can take that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a quick reaction on this. So, look at, you say, as a part of sustainability goals, there are so many parameters that we follow. One is education, then malnutrition, and all this kind of. Look at health. What percentage of the health is now in the private sector? It's a very, very large one. And the public sector, what's the involvement in the health sector is very, very low. Now, we know in large cities like Mumbai, the way they say we become victims of kind of a lust for money by the people who have set up the utility. But we have rightly said, will the corporate sector be pursuing the goal as per what is the focus of the government? I think this is a big question because when they pursue their bottom line and top line in terms of productivity, and they feel that 2% they give and they have done this and that thing, and 98% is out of that. I think that approach will not really yield what we are expecting.
Just one addition to what with that about the individual social responsibility. These are the corporate social responsibility. So I think this change which is required would come from mass awareness eventually. That should be the pathway. That people demand from the corporates that your product should be more sustainable, you are more inclusive. So I think that is happening gradually. So probably that could be the way forward where the customers or the public demand is such that the corporate would automatically create to a more sustainable way of production, more inclusive way of function. That's a small addition from us.
So this is one is prevent from the problem the country is facing, the world is facing. So one is because of this now the people are asking for it. If you start looking at the Nordic region, some of the European countries, they have taken this way ahead, right? Today, if you look at H&M, CA, right, all these guys are all making apparel. Now the customers are asking, right? Show me that, the shirt I'm buying from you, it is not made in sweatshop. Because there was one, because the sustainability report, there was a fire in Bangladesh in a garment factory, Nike stock went down. Even Nike has no clue what happened, right? But 7 layers down, they outsourced their job to some shop in a Bangladeshi sweatshop. There's a fire back up, right? But now people are aware. Now the customers are asking Nike that prove me this shirt is not made in a sweatshop, and I want that. So now the sustainability people are pushing. If you look at that, many of the Karur, Coimbatore belt, people are talking about acid-free diet today. It's not that suddenly they all woke up and say that we are becoming sustainability because their European customers are asking. So what is the shirt I'm wearing? Is it organic? Is it following the standards on good manufacturing practices? It's not doing the sweatshop model, right? If today people are supplying to IKEA in India, IKEA is sending the SOPs about what we need to do. So there are in Bangalore, there are two major export markets, right? Starting Imports and Kolkata. Next to the IT industry in Bangalore, the highest employment in garment manufacturing. You name any brand, it's made in there. So one of my investments there, Gramavani. So what Gramavani does is, it helps people to anonymously call somebody to leave a message. So we have installed Gramavani in these Kolkatas and Sahi ports. If there is a sweatshop, then the condition is not good, they can call and do a message. H&M, people in Europe are listening to the message because they are now putting the standard. But H&M is not doing just because there's a push, because their customers are asking. So that's why the individual social responsibility is very important, because if everything that you buy, if you buy responsibly, 73% of our greenhouse emission will be controlled. The consumer has the power today, which we are not exercising much. But many of the Western world now is picking up that customers are asking, which is pushing, because the problem corporates create. Then you create a waste management company that is fixing the problem, right? Because somebody created the problem, then another industry is coming to fix the problem. Look at how much energy resources are wasted. So this is where that opportunity is coming. from the customers, they're pushing that, am I wearing this one, right? What am I eating? So that is the part they're keep asking the question. It pushes the corporate in terms of doing the change, because before the ESG, Unilever started putting their, at a supply chain greenery part, because it is not out of thing. There's a very nice Unilever case study, profitable case study. You should probably teach in the school as well. That what they forced them, because their customers started asking about what is the supply chain, the supply chain is green or not. They start looking at it, because now customers are more and more aware. So that's a choice that you have as well. That what am I buying? Because sustainability is a new luxury. You want to buy a BMW car, or you want to eat an organic food and wear a handloom, right? Instead of buying like probably one T-shirt and get 3 T-shirts free on Amazon, can you buy one handloom, right? This is made in Kolkata and in Gujarat, right? You made one kurta, which should be 5,000 rupees, but do a minimalist thing. We saw that during the pandemic, all the fast fashion are getting closed. JC Penney got closed because they are not able to sell to the fast fashion. There is no fashion is coming, right? So this is where opportunity is worldwide, because customers are pushing in terms of what the consumption. Then the part about development. What is development? Today we are at $3.7 trillion economy. We want to push the GDP up at what cost? So that's the part that we need to look at. If you see that my daughter went to Himalayas 2 weeks in camp in a tent, no toilets, no food, all those they managed. We say they're awesome. But somebody living in East Goro gives like this 365 days. Right? They have no electricity, they live in a thatched house, we call them stupid. Right? You are a tribal, you don't know what you're doing, you come out, right? And go through our checkup, but go to that field, live there for 1 week, awesome. Right? But you live there for 365 days, you're stupid. So this is about development that we need to question. That is why his sustainability is better than mine, so he needs to be celebrated. Right? I'm just telling them, I told some Meghalaya people, capture the carbon for your people living in this national, give them a carbon credit, put a methodology and collect money. Why only Elon Musk is making money? You should make money as well. So that's about your paradigm of development as well, right? What development we want at what cost. So if we somebody living simply, I was Jharkhand in Udyogni, we did a project with them. So there is a tribal sells lakh bangle, right? The lakh, nobody buys the lakh bangles. So there is a recent research institute in Ranchi, which found a new utilization pharma and chocolate industry. So the tribal person I met is one of the extremist play. But this tribal person now selling the lakh at 800 rupees a kg, Tata and Jindal will buy. So he's wearing one probably towel in his lap, and he said, here's 1 lakh rupees in the bank. And he's living very sustainable. He said, I don't know what do I do with the money. But if my child has a health problem, I don't need to depend on, I can take my child to hospital. So that security is what we got. So this is where opportunity is coming about. Simplicity should be celebrated. Because we should be very contented people. But today we are just following this Wall Street motto of greed is good, but it's stupid, right? We are from this place where greed is bad, right? From you probably from Patna, right? Buddha will start talking about greed is bad, but Wall Street says greed is good. So look at the completely controversial statements. But we were contented before, we are losing the content. We are following the Western model of greed is good, consumption is increasing, which is creating all the problem. But now people are realizing in the West as well that I am the culprit. I'm start questioning what am I eating, what am I wearing, where am I living. So that's an opportunity that we have.
Okay, thank you. I think for now more than 60 minutes we have dwelt upon what are issues surrounding corporate, etc. Now I would like to leave this panel for some question and answers for the participants who want to raise questions. And there are so many guys who are interested because they are suddenly becoming sustainable. Okay, so that shows the effectiveness of the panel of ingredients were given for questioning. Yeah.
Good morning. So since we have talked about in the panel about inclusivity, and currently the Nobel Prize was given for that proving that the inclusive institutions are the best for developing a nation and for making great making it grow carefully also. I want to understand, sir, how difficult is it to create an inclusive institution in India, which even empirically that they are primarily established in the West world, where it's homogeneous society at large. How difficult is it to create an inclusive society in India since they've given the vibrant culture and the norm and the social growth that we have in India? So how difficult is it? I want to understand.
Yes, so it's not about how difficult or how easy. So basically, it's every organization have a blueprint, right? So how it is functioning. So the structures, processes, systems are made based on that blueprint. So the mandate, it depends on the mandate, objective, and so on. So it's all about tweaking those systems, processes to hear everyone in the organization. So it is happening. It's not that it's not happening. There are organizations which are open. There are many startups presently. They are working in that kind of a culture. So it is now said that corporates are not hierarchy presently. There's a change which is happening. It's not hierarchy, but there are networks. There are different nodes, different hubs which are always interacting with each other. So it is not from that again. The discussion was on whether we can force something on that. It is not about forcing an organization to become inclusive. Then they will become inclusive. So that change will come automatically if you understand the benefit of being inclusive. So I think that is the way forward.
What is it? My question to you is something simple. Income inequality is something that is very practical, and this has been attributed to lack of access to technology and quality education, etc. So, what policy changes can be brought forward by the governments in order to tackle this issue, and what roles can corporates play in order to address this issue and in sustainable manner? You want to direct the question? You want any particular families to respond?
Yeah, see, this inclusive development is not a new concept, right? Gandhi has given a solution 100 years back. That affiliate village, self-reliant village. So we speak about. Even Abdul Kalam came up with the vision 2020 called Pura. Provide urban amenities rurally. So we all miss that. So that's the solution, right? Because what is happening today, villages are empty, cities are getting overloaded. We are not US. We can't put 1.4 billion people in a city. We need a uniform growth across the country, right? So we have few states have done very well. Kerala has done. You travel in Kerala, you don't see a village. Right? It's all amenities are in every place. Tamil Nadu is leveraging that part as well. Because there is that's what Gandhi vision about Gram Swaraj. So that finally happened, maybe 93 that Panchayat Raj happened. So there's a three layer of development. You have federal, you have your state, and the Panchayat. The Panchayat was not there, right? Because now it's a very recent phenomenon happening. Few states have leveraged that because then a person in a village knows what he wants. Instead of somebody living in, let's say, the district headquarters pushing down. So this is what, before even Panchayat Raj, Kerala has developed the village level system. So that helps them about have the uniform development. So that's one part that we need to leverage. But the second part from the corporate side is about decentralized manufacturing, right? If you look at Tata, the Titan, right? The Titan, the watch that you buy, the strap is made by the self-help groups, right? In the nearby villages near the Hosur area. So similarly, you can do decentralized manufacturing. So I am advising government in one of these initiatives we call Kisan Mitra. We did it during pandemic. I was telling that Bharat saying bye to India, right? Because a lot of youth came into cities. They started walking back to the villages because 2 weeks they can't survive in the cities. So now it's a great opportunity because the youth is going back to the village. Right? When I came back from US, I was called a reverse brain drain. I'm just telling them, why are you calling them migrants? Right? They are a reverse brain drain from the cities. They build the city, they know what is good and bad in the city, let them utilize to build the villages. We started this initiative to put 1,000 technologies developed in IITs, ICR, CSIR, that, because the youth in village does not want to do what the father did, that put them in poverty. But you give them a technology, you want to do it in the village, right? So there is an example is about a sugarcane machine developed in IIT Bombay. So you mobile jaggery unit. Take the unit to the field, you put a sugarcane this side, jaggery comes. So if this side is talking about this technology, we had multiple languages. We have farmers and youth in the villages come and sit and listen to this, right? So now we are taking the next level for we are starting this called RUTAG village, smart village centers. We want to put a physical village centers in the villages where a youth can walk in and then say this is the technology that available. So I can make a sugarcane machine, or jaggery machine, or some fabricator could buy a machine and do, right? So now this time the professor, he came out and started a startup. Ran bought his machine for 30 lakhs, gave it to some youth in Mandya in Karnataka. And he did train the youth. They're taking the machine to the farmer. So the farmer is not selling the sugarcane, he's selling it. That's your decentralized man, right? Because this is how that we have to start leveraging about each region. But that's what Gandhi's vision is that today, what is happening? The sugarcane leaving the place, go to the nearby mill, and then the economy is out. But you keep the economy there. So he's not selling the sugarcane, he's selling the jaggery. The entire value chain economy is in the village. So he's prosperous, so there's no need for migration. So this is what that we need to be doing in terms of regional manufacturing. Whatever the ideas you may have, whatever the organization you join, figure out a model about how do we leverage this, right? So people have done that as well. There is Doho, right? He went back to Tenkasi, his hometown, and he hired people just 12th pass and putting them in a place and providing jobs from his own village. The rural BPOs who are started earlier, rural stores and organization doing that, providing this. So provide opportunities in there as well, so that there's no need for migration. Migration is not wrong. If they want to migrate, let them come, but then come live in India, not in slum in, Mumbai, Kolkata, right? So that's an opportunity we have. So decentralized, self-reliant villages, that's an opportunity. The pandemic gave a great opportunity because many youth have gone back, not come back fully yet. So that's a great opportunity still we have. That's why we are launching these rural smart village centers about taking technology developed in IITs and giving to them as well. So that's an opportunity for you as well, right? Probably put up a center, help them to do this so that they will be able to stay in wherever you are, get all the amenities. So the need for migration stopping. Mandrega proved it, right? Mandrega proved slow down the migration because even 100 days of work, people want to live in their villages and be there instead of moving out.
Talked about converting challenges to opportunities. One example, during the COVID pandemic, when it initially hit, there are lakhs of everyone SHEs under national rural university. Initially, there was a very big concern that they will lose their livelihood. Everything was closed, lockdown. So their traditional challenge, the channels of whatever they were doing, the enterprises they were running, they were not functioning. You know what they facilitated by the government? Almost 70 to 80,000 such SHGs. They started making PPE kits, masks, crores of masks, gloves, PPE were manufactured by those SHGs, those women SHGs, and they were supplied to different organizations. This again shows that the resilience of the system is such that if you identify those opportunities, even within the challenges, you can do it. So that also is another example of how inclusive growth can be, inclusive can be. Thank you.
Voice. Yes. I
Morning, respected family members. So my question is directed towards the captain. He spoke about how sustainability is practiced for centuries in the Northeast region. And we have seen that through the handloom industry. And if you have traveled to the inner villages, even there doesn't have out of that and train. And then we see the Bangalore terminal to airport being a living example of how you can create a world-class material design using the bamboo and thing. So my question, building on the premise that can sustainability be posed, how far do you think India is along the journey to adopt these sustainable practices back? And if not, then what are the insights? We mentioned adopting these practices on a mass level in the entire country.
Yeah, it's still a developing country, right? Many people, it's about hand to mouth, right? It's 16% of India is in extreme power. They don't have a food to eat. Probably they go to bed without food. So that's one element. So they're all worried about day to day what we need to do. But 400 million, if we just talk about, think about 400 million is where we have, people have disposable income. There is a potential about, disposable income can become sustainable. So I call sustainability the new luxury. Right? So that is what the change happening in some portion of that. It's only maybe 2%. I have an organic store in Bangalore, which probably will progress in sustainability, but we hardly have, the 2% is what buy. The place I live in, Bangalore, there is 600 families. They all live sustainable, right? Waste is all composed locally, or rainwater harvesting, city water is used back, the houses are built with the mud, all those things are happening, but only 600 families. So it's just still, it is, in the developing countries, that mindset is not there yet. But there is a small amount of portion is trying. But what the advantage we have today is about, so there was a recent news came in that from Europe. Europe was banning a coffee, which is developed by killing a forest. But they're not going to buy those imported coffee. And then people in India started jumping up on, then those business gone and all that stuff. So I just wrote in one article, I said, why are you jumping about losing the market? Go back to Europe and tell, okay, so that policy is awesome, but they're preserving the forest, right? Some element of forest preserve northeast. So come and pay us some tax for that. That's what I've told Meghalaya Chief Minister. You charge oxygen tax for the rest of India. So that's how you can preserve the forest in northeast. Otherwise, we are going to cut the trees and build plants. It's not going to be there. So that's why the incentive structure is wrong. So this is what we are debating. I'm part of this group in worldwide. It's called PEST. It is about transforming the financial system. Today, the financial system is skewed because the shareholder in a company, I am always looking at what is your top and bottom, right? So then we cannot blame the CEO for doing something wrong in the middle to achieve the top and bottom. So because this is a shareholder's problem, right? Because the investor is not asking the right question. So that is why if you look at the BlackRock, have you heard BlackRock? One of the largest investment company in the world, $11.5 trillion in asset management. Now the BlackRock is telling that they're investing companies that you go triple bottom line, you follow the sustainability practices. Otherwise, I'm not going to fund you. So they removed ExxonMobil from their board, right? So because they're not meeting their initiatives. So like this, there are changes coming up, worldwide. So then India has an opportunity. Do we spoil the planet and figure out, or while we growing, can we do sustainably? That is what my book is all about. There are entrepreneurs, like 30 plus stories I've get. All these entrepreneurs are building sustainable business. They're showing the world that is possible, including how they manage the waste. There is Saha's story in Bangalore. She manages 100 ton of waste every day in Bangalore sustainably. She's going telling US how to manage waste. She's going to China telling how to manage waste. Right now, the wet waste converted bio-CNG that runs vehicle in Bangalore. So from the waste, we make biogas. The biogas runs the vehicle. Today, you take a CNG vehicle, put our biogas, the vehicle runs. So this is sustainability, zero, carbon neutrality. So that the other guy who the restaurant buying our gas, he has a carbon neutral idli in his menu. In Bangalore, there's a Kohinoor restaurant. It has a carbon neutral idli in the menu, saying that the gas is coming from the waste. I'm not burning extra fuel to manage it. So like this, there are entrepreneurs doing an amazing job in terms of changing this. After Carbon Master figured out how to fix this this biogas problem, now the government has come in. So the government, first time in budget, has announced funding investment in carbon in biogas is a priority lending. So now, the consortium is formed about compressed biogas. It's a 100-year-old technology. But suddenly this one entrepreneur made it work, but the government is coming up. That's what I always tell entrepreneurs, that don't wait for the government to change the policy. Government cannot innovate, but what government can do is you innovate at scale, they'll come now. Right? So one of my investment built Swachh Bharat 55 years back. One of our first investment 15 years back, he built toilets in Trichy with twin pit model. Right? There is no waste that converted to biofertilizer. The planning commission visited him and said, this is what the country should be building toilets. Swachh Bharat is following his model. Last year he got a Padma Shri, the toilet man of India. So similarly, if you look at microfinance, right? Yunus, who kind of endorsed my book, he created a very simple solution for a poor bankable, right? He got a Nobel Prize. So now what in SBI we kept telling our people that go to the village, provide them, banking services. Many of the banks said it's too expensive. But then RBI figured out that how come microfinance are working in the village. What they did, microfinance given a bank line. So one person who came up with a simple idea. What is the idea? It's called GLG, right? So what is GLG? You go to a village, people said poor cannot repay the money. He proved it wrong. When he goes to a village, one road, he will give it to 5 people next day for money. Not relatives, the neighbors, all the 5 they get money. It goes every week to collect the money. Even one person cannot pay, he won't collect the money back. So what happened? That they were not letting the friend pay. So the friend will pay for her so that he never had a recovery. This is what this innovation called joint liability group had brought billions and billions of poor people out of power into practice. So this is an opportunity for us. Right? It all came from here. People have developed this model. India has taken that model forward to become recognized banks. Banks and villages are all based on the microfinance. So that is where we have a lot of initiatives happening, but we are not going through that, right? We are just looking for sitting in Instagram, looking about what Zomato is raising money, selling idlis, and all the MBA students want to build another app to sell idlis and t-shirts. But many of these stories are not told because we lost the sense. So that's why I don't believe in PowerPoint. I will go to the village, sit what the entrepreneur is doing, document, mentor, invest. So that all these stories will inspire you in terms of what is happening in the country. Yeah.
One last question. We are running short of time. One last question.
It was from look at impact fund. What are the metrics that and you can modify look at the measure success in terms of monetary profitability. What all other metrics are used to measure the impact?
Impact. So now what we're doing with the triple bottom line is what we're looking at, right? So there is the professor mentioned, right? The SDG monitoring is becoming a big business than actual SDG, right? So, and ESG. Similarly, that what you call M&D we call monitoring evaluation. The M&D business is huge business. Everybody tries that I will measure impact. So we try to simplify the impact measurement. So the toilet example I gave, right? So that's one of the investment we did 15 years back. We are the India's first, we gave loan to build toilets, only build toilets and water connection, right? So there was one impact organization said, I said, you're giving loan to build toilets, what is utilization? So I will fund you, and you put a sensor in every toilet seat. So measure that how people are whether using toilet seats are. We said in India there's a privacy problem, they're not going to allow you to put a sensor in the toilet. Besides, I get 99% recovery. They take money to build a toilet. They pay the money back, 99% recovery, impact is already there. So why do we put because it was costing 10,000 rupees to put a sensor, our toilet costs 20,000, right? They want to spend another 10,000 for monitoring. So the people get too much into this monitoring business and impact measurement. If we build that part of it, become easier. In agriculture, there are entrepreneurs who will come and say that, I'm working with 10,000 farmers, what's your revenue? 20 lakh, except zero impact, shut it down. So whereas one of my investment will work with 3 farmers, his revenue is 5 crores. Right? So he's creating wealth. So that's the impact automatically. So that's where figure out innovative ways to build the impact part of the business model than have a separate line. It should go to the monitoring, which is completely based on that.
I think we are coming to the close of the session. I may not take up many more questions. Yeah. And first of all, let me go into the. Ask this.
Good morning, sir. My question is towards Vivaan, sir.
How have digital payments contributed to India's current development? And in what ways have they gone on to increase social inclusivity, if they are any?
I don't know how much of the question that I understood, but digital payment is one of the things which has brought about a great revolution in the payment system. And payment system is always equated with the stages of development. So from kind of a barter system to the metallic system to the paper system to the digital system. Now, this digital payment is different from the earlier ones because each digital payment has a tray. That means the person who has made the payment and the place from where he has made the payment. And along with that, many other things can be related to make data into information and information into knowledge. So that's the most important part. And then it is now, because of the communication network, etc., it is spread all throughout. As I told in my initial remark, that is 30 crore people today are using UPI as a mode of payment. Now, if you look at this, the kind of information that we have, now you say our governor that Bharat, he said about the financial system. You see, from payment, you are in a position to know, assess what possibility in terms of finance, in terms of risk and return. That is what is possible. That is one of the important part of it. And then you try to relate it with the real sector where the things happen, agriculture, industry, etc., which we economists call it as a part of the real sector. And then government intervention comes through the fiscal sector. All these three, if you put together and look at the development part of it, you can imagine that how wiser we become than what we are today. And the digital payment show that it is possible to get this information digitally. Now the next question is that how do we put it into intelligence, analytical mode, and do whatever is possible. To be very brief, I go every month to a village nearby my home in Mumbai. It's a Adivasi area. They grow only one crop, that is paddy. On the other hand, the river Vaitharana discharges a lot of water which goes into the sea. Now, if this water would have been harnessed, there could be pisciculture, there could be one more crop. I will also give further information that in a place like Pilani, somebody producing olive per acre, his earning is more than ₹1,00,000. Somebody in Andhra Pradesh producing turmeric per 1 acre, 10 lakh of rupees. So this knowledge we have, these abilities we have, this smart farming, that's what economists call, we have. But how to make it mass-based, that is one on the production side. Then how to take care of the supply chain, how to take care of the price that people will get and which will be remunerated. These are all questions if you think of and you try to find out what we should do from what we are today. I think that will be a good thing. I will not, for want of time, I will not take you through the journey. But you think of this, that what is the potential? What is tremendous potential? Somebody produces in 1 acre, 1 lakh of rupees by olive. Somebody produces 10 lakh of rupees by turmeric. This is the kind of remuneration that is possible. But what holds us back? And what is something was told by microfinance, etc. In my view, microfinance is a very, very important thing, but it is the bottom part of the ladder. People has to be brought from one ladder to the next ladder to next ladder. What is the mechanism through which we bring the people from one ladder to the next ladder to next ladder? This is another question. All these questions you young guys have to look and study, understand, and find out how to go about.
Thank you, sir. So we have come to the close of it. Now, we got an excellent panel and an interesting area of discussion. Of course, we can go on because people who are sitting here, they have so much of experience on these aspects. So we may be able to go on asking questions and try to explore them more on some of the aspects. But we are coming to the close of this panel. Let me just give a quick summary of what we have, what has been highlighted by the panelists, starting with Dr. Burman. And we talk about the bottom of the pyramid and the bottom approach as one of the important aspects which we should be able to bring in for sustainability at the corporate level also. And Chattopadhyay who is linking the climate change, etc., and the sustainability part, and he has also brought in an acronym on what kind of trainings are required for you guys so that you may be able to see it better. And along with that, Dr. Government talked about the inclusive growth also, bringing it. And interestingly, we have got interesting insights from Mr. Prakash, wherein he started with the first one is great, wherein he said something about the preventers, the carbon credits in climate change, then he was breaking it, and then brought important aspects which is more relevant to the youngsters, like the sensitivity aspect. How much we are sensitive. As per the information of the panelists, we do try to put them along with the social awareness program, etc., wherein they go for an attachment with an NGO. But what is the effectiveness of it? I keep my fingers crossed. Because from our side, the effort is to create that sensitivity. But from their side, it should not be measured every day. That is one of the things which we still, but we never lose our this thing. We try to bring that. I think a lot of things which have come up is talking about the compassionate capital, and finally, Verman was also talking about how the UPI has become a game changer. And in fact, by that also there are a lot of sustainability, because he was talking about the evolution of different paper money and then with non-paper money, which has gone into that itself has contributed a lot to the environment, because printing the money is now reduced. Right? The paper we are saying environmentally friendly. So that it was a very interesting session. I'm happy that on a Sunday morning, along after the breakfast, I hope you guys have had your breakfast. So I got a good breakfast because I haven't had a breakfast. Because of this, I had a very good breakfast as a knowledge, because he was talking about knowledge. Knowledge is one of the important things. That's it's really a great pleasure in hosting on this panel, and we are really grateful to you as IIFT Kolkata campus. Thank you, sir, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Manal. I am Shreyas Reddy as the Joint Club Coordinator of the Public Policy Club at IIFT Kolkata. Would like to thank all our esteemed speakers on behalf of the entire IIFT fraternity. Dr. R.P. Burman sir, Paramjyoti Chattopadhyay sir, and Nagaraj Prakasan sir, as well as our esteemed center head, Rangarajan sir, for taking up their busy time from their schedules to address the students of IIFT Kolkata today. Your enthusiasm in guiding the candidate is deeply appreciated. We had various insights ranging from sustainability frameworks to policy frameworks, as well as crisis management itself at the UN. While we also discussed various topics from weavers in India and how they could benefit from various corporate collaboration itself. While we also discussed many points and insights on inclusive growth, and how the RTI itself helped in that, and how India right now is also guiding a lot in that. We also discussed the bottom-up approach and how a new initiative regarding big data and cloud computing could also be brought in the same space itself. Structural transformation and information asymmetry in these spaces was also discussed at length. AIC, which dealt with agility, adaptability, as well as the inclusiveness and communication itself, and how these help with various food programs at the UN and other multilateral organizations as well were discussed at length. Cultural IPR as well as cultural IPR for carbon credit and various other carbon credit issues in Europe were also insightful discussions. Before we wrap up, we would also like to honor our esteemed speakers by presenting mementos to them. And we would like to present each one of you with a memento for the time, effort, and wisdom that you have shared with us today. So, beginning with R.T. Berman, sir, please accept this token of gratitude that we have. In a manner like this, Ranjit Chattopadhyay sir come forward later. Not the least, I would also like to Nagaraj Prakashan sir to come forward and accept this memento. We would also like to give a memento for Rangarajan sir himself for being the moderator today's night. So for a group photo, let's consider. Yes, yeah. Please. Public policy coordinator. Okay. The back. Come. These girls are also skeptical that whether I will come or not. No, sir. Be confident. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.